President Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukraine will fight till the end, but his latest climb down suggests otherwise. Before we tell you more, listen to what he had to say.
I understand it's impossible to make Russia give up the territory completely, that it will lead to World War III. I understand completely, I'm aware. That is why I'm saying, yes, this is a compromise indeed. Come back to where it all started, and we'll try to resolve the question of the Donbass, the complex question of the Donbass.
Zelensky says he is ready for a compromise on the Donbass region. The eastern Donbass region is controlled by the pro-Russian rebels. The Ukrainian president is not making any deals with Putin yet, but is making some major concessions. The region of Donbass is controlled by pro-Russian rebels. The map on your screen shows Donetsk and Luhansk, the two rebel republics recognized by Putin. These regions do not have borders. They have a conflict line. To the west is territory under Kyiv. To the east is rebel land. The Ukrainian president now says he is ready for a compromise. They can try to resolve the status of Donbass. Zelensky's concessions are exactly what Russia has demanded. Russia laid down 4 demands to end the invasion. 1. Ukraine must stop all military action. 2. Ukraine must change its constitution to enshrine neutrality. This means an assurance that Kyiv will not join the NATO. Zelensky has already said that Ukraine must give up its NATO aspiration. 3. Ukraine must acknowledge Crimea as Russian territory, a demand that the Ukrainian president has said is open for discussion. And 4. To recognize separatist republics of Donetsk and Luhansk as independent. So Zelensky is clearly conceding ground on many of the demands set by Russia. But why the sudden climb down by the Ukrainian president? It has been over a month since Russia invaded Ukraine. Cities have been bombarded, millions have fled the country, and hundreds have been killed. Zelensky may have hoped for stronger Western support, but he now realizes that Ukraine is on its own. The West may give weapons and aid, but they will never join the war. So what options does he have? Giving up territory in a bid for peace, giving up Donbass could bring an end to the war. Russia has always maintained this war was about liberation of the people there. But as more and more days pass by and Russian demands grow, the biggest question remains, are these the only concessions that Zelensky will have to make? China's most populous city, Shanghai, has again tightened the first phase of a 2-stage lockdown as it entered its second day of COVID curbs. Authorities have now imposed restrictions on highway traffic and cross-river bridges to contain surging COVID-19 cases. More in this next report.
Shanghai entered a 2-stage lockdown Monday as the financial hub of 26 million people scrambles to contain surging COVID-19 cases. The snap lockdown, which was announced on Sunday, will split the city in two, roughly along the Huangpu River for 9 days, to allow for staggered testing. It's the biggest COVID-related disruption to hit the city. While residents east of the Huangpu were confined to their homes, those in the west stockpiled groceries and other essential goods as they prepared for a similar fate starting on April 1st. This shopper at a Shanghai wet market said there's nothing left and they're at a loss for what to do. The lockdown order marks a turnaround for Shanghai's authorities, which as late as Saturday denied the city would be locked down. Shanghai's Public Security Bureau said it was closing cross-river bridges and tunnels and highway toll booths concentrated in the city's east until Friday, and people leaving the city would have to show a negative test taken within the previous 48 hours. Shanghai also ordered the suspension of work at firms and factories, exempting those offering public services or supplying food. Some hospitals also suspended services as they release staff and other resources to assist with mass testing. Shanghai said earlier this month that its daily testing capacity was around 3 million, but some doctors warned it still might not be enough to outpace the rapid spread of the virus.
A carved mask from Central Africa dating from the 19th century was sold for 4.2 million euros or $4.6 million at a Paris auction. The rare wooden guil mask used in ceremonies by the Fang ethnic people of Gabon smashed its estimate of 300,000 to 400,000 euros at the auction in the southern French city of Montpellier. However, during the auction, protests erupted by some Gabonese people demanding the mask's restitution to its country of origin.
Cet objet va être restitué et nos ancêtres, mes ancêtres de la communauté.
Security guards had to be called in and the demonstrators left the auction calmly but continued their protest against the sale of African works of art outside.
1,6 million, 1,7 million.
Pendant que le peuple souffre,
we have goods that were stolen in Africa and sold here illegally. Governor Fournier, at a time in 1917, is said to have collected this property, but what he did was steal, rob, snatch, plunder. And we cannot accept that this property is here on display when it has been stolen. We are learning of its existence today. We want to recover our property.
c'est pour ça que nous sommes.
The auctioneer says the auction was entirely legal. Saturday's auction also included a Congolese chair which sold for $48,300. With added costs and fees, the total paid by the successful bidder for the Fang mask was $5.76 million, close to a record for such an item. In 2006, a similar Fang mask brought in $6.48 million at a Paris auction. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.